The reason most of you have not achieved success is because of lack of clarity. Why are you doing this? I want money. A survey was once conducted and they asked a group of individuals, why do you get up in the morning? 90% of them said, I don't know. It's because everybody's doing it. The same applies to you who's watching this video. Why do you do the things you do? I want money. Everyone wants money. How much money? Is it in bonds? Is it in stocks? How do you diversify against system attacks? If your business goes through a point where there's no revenue, the same thing that happened during COVID, have you built a system to sustain that business during those seasons of drought, or are you going to downsize like a bitch? You have to be intentional about all of this. Majority of you understand what I'm saying and you know for a fact that it's valid, but why don't you do it? It's because you semi disbelieve in that which you are doing. Maybe it might work. I'm not really sure, but let's see how it goes. There was this story of a priest of a congregant. He came to church to pray. He was praying for rain. The priest walked in and said, "You pray for rain, my friend, but you're not with an umbrella. If you really believe in that which you're praying for, you would have come with an umbrella." The same applies to you. If you really believe that that business or whatever endeavor you're doing is going to make you the money you said it would, then why are you not taking measures? Why are you not already instilling and putting system in place to diversify against attack? Why are you not writing that business plan with, or I'll wait till I get funding, or I'll wait till the money hits the bank account? It's never going to work. So you need clarity and you have to be intentional about your goals. Take two ships. The first one has its voyage mapped out. The crew members, the captain, they are in tandem with we, and they know exactly where they want to go. They set out on sail. 90% out of 100, they will get to their destination. The second ship doesn't know where he's going, just loads up the ship with the crew members and sets sail. 100% of the time, or 99 out of 100% of the time, either they sink or they end up in some derelict desert or some lost island. But 99% of the time, even if they get to a destination, they won't know they've arrived because they have no idea of where they are going to in the first place. So you need to have clarity in whatever you're doing. So take out a piece of paper, take out a pen. What do I want? Don't let your task determine the objective. Let your objective determine the task. Majority of you just start reading a book, start taking these courses and seminars, hoping something will come out, or maybe if I go through this course, I might meet someone who will give me enough money to start a business and then I'll be financially free. But my friend, many people have walked that path you're about to tread and it ended miserably. Because when you get all the money, the moment the check hits the bank, you feel empty because there's a space that only the size of purpose and fulfillment can fill. Even though you're doing the right thing, as long as you're not working in the consciousness of that, you will end up miserable. Either you resort to drugs, sex, alcohol, and all of this. For a while, you might find it interesting, but based on the law of averages, it's only a matter of time before you end up depressed and suicidal. You see now that your latter state is worse than your initial state. That's why it looks like money makes people miserable. It's not money that makes them miserable. It's this underlying concept of lack of purpose and belief. So you don't want to end up like those people. You want to have a clear goal and the destination. Do not let your, like I repeat, do not let your task determine the objective. Let your objective determine the task. Before you venture into anything, before you read that book, before you listen to that podcast, before you take advice from me, what is the end goal? What does all these activities culminate into? Your goal doesn't have to be rigid. Your goal doesn't have to be predefined, because if you've been following me long enough, you always hear me say, start now. More tools will be found along the way. So begin now, but first identify not what you're doing or where you're going, but all these activities, where do they culminate into? Okay, I'm reading this book because I want to be financially literate and be able to discern and take up opportunities. For a long time, I've been studying the financial market, learning the relationship between the Federal Reserve rates. All these interest rates, it was foreign to me at first. I always marveled at the fact that the Federal Reserve rates affect my local country. So it impels the CBN. I'm currently in Nigeria. It impels the CBN to act. How does something in US, a majority of people who are watching this who are also Nigerians, also marvel at the fact that the US dollar affects our local currency? So studying cause and effect, studying the relationship between these interest rates, I learned how to take opportunities. I learned how to be discerning. Let me tell you a quick story of something that happened recently. Nigeria currently, from a vassal's perspective, is in turmoil. This is one of the worst regimes the peasants have ever experienced. Why people think it's the worst regime? It's not for me. I'll tell you what I did. I always ask this question. They are printing trillions of naira every day on the news. I was talking with a friend. They are doing this. This money can't always be going to private pocket, I said, because over time it becomes boring. There must be a way to inject this money into the economy. I said, oh, well, yeah, you're right. I know I'm right, dummy. I'm asking how. How is it possible? You know, I left that guy. Kept studying. I discovered that there's something called the open market operation. This is how they inject money to the economy. Because I didn't get any direct cash deposits. Did you get any deposits? So they do something called the open market operation. This is where they go into the market and buy bonds, stocks, thereby stimulating the economy. So the people who previously held this position now sell them to get these newly injected dollars or naira in my own case. So the moment inflation is high, in order to combat inflation, they sell these financial assets which they acquired. The people with the new dollars, with the inflated currency, give it back to the Federal Reserve or the CBN. I keep using the US. Let's stick to the US. So they give it back to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve and have retrieved their currency. Wow, that means in general the currency circulating amongst the economy has been reduced. So this is one of the ways they use to curb inflation. This is not all it is. And if you've been able to get to this point of the video, if you have any degree of a functioning brain, you would ask this question. Well, if this is the case, why print more? Why print more dollars? Why can't they just stick to this infinite loop of sending money out or of buying financial assets? When inflation is high, they sell. Why can't they just stick to this loop? We'll do a separate series on finances. So back to the story. So learning this interest rate, for a long time I did not know how this would benefit me. Like I said, this is one of the worst regimes. And the government, in an attempt to stimulate the economy, anytime you see the government creating this poverty alleviation scheme, NCIC, giving these free grants, you know this is an attempt to inject money into the economy. So what did I do as an entrepreneur? I had my assistant draft a 2-page document of how we can stimulate the economy. I said, look, government, I am the founder of NSA Corporation and I would build 200 homes. This is my bank balance. I believe this will not only create new homes for this state, but it will also create job opportunities for the layman. The cement factory gets stimulated, building materials also get bought, iron rods get bought, and all materials that pertains to building. Also the labor cost. So I'm going to inject money into this economy my own way. However, I want a 10 to 15-year tax abatement instantly within 3 hours, not just because of this awesome pitch, but because I'm God favorite as well. Instantly, I got a response. I got the 10 to, I was able to bag a 12-year tax abatement. So currently, that's what has been taking most of my time. I've been trying to see how we can create about 100 units with not 100 homes, because every building, every land property that we acquire, we drop at least 200 units in that land. 200 units, so 20 building, 10 buildings totaling 200. Yeah, so we're able to get that tax abatement. This is how that financial literacy has become beneficial to me. Now, within 2 years, we'll be done with this feat. So the remaining 10 years, I get to eat my cake and have it. I spend the rest of the 10 years without paying any tax. And this is what the rich understand. Instead of falsifying your figures and returning a low figure, a low revenue amount in order to reduce your taxable income, why not provide value and get tax abatement? Majority of the people watching me have no idea of what tax abatement is, and you could keep saying tax the rich, tax the rich. It's never going to work. So you have to be clear on where you're going to, be intentional about what you're doing. The second is patience. The second is patience. You have to believe in your feet. Believe that this venture, this thing you are doing, would someday work out. You don't have to focus on what's happening or focus on when your business would hit the multi-figure. Focus on, oh, this is not working, or focus on getting that amazing physique. Focus on what you can control. What you can control is a good attitude, positive mindset, how you show up to the gym, how you show up to your endeavor, how you show up to work, the kind of positivity you sustain while grinding out, the kind of belief you sustain while doing that thing you're doing amidst seeing no results. That's what you can control. So don't get caught up in dwelling in the end. You say, oh, this is not working. That means something is wrong with my action. No, my friend. As you sow, you shall reap. We all understand from Newton's third law that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. As you sow, you shall reap. If I walk up to the summit of this building and I jump, chances are excellent that I would fall. Now, falling is the consequence that comes in honor to that decision. Jump. You see now that the consequences of your actions have already been pre-programmed. If I jump, I would fall. I've not taken that action, but we all know what will happen when I make that jump. So, this is a logical example. However, in your own case, it might seem different because the consequence of your decision are not as immediate as the afore example. But just believe and trust the process. I'll end this with a quote from the Bible. Do not be fooled. God cannot be mocked. For as a man sow, he shall reap. As always, it's a pleasure speaking to you guys. I'll see you in the next one.